Bring my microphone around and you guys can hear me. That's better. How's everyone doing? Hopefully you're all doing well. Let's see who's here. Oh my god, so much raffle spam straight away. Mr. G, Any Magic Night, Crouch 7, Steps, CB Meeks as well, Eldritch, Acmafin, Licorice as well. Welcome, guys. Finally streaming Z80. Yeah, well, Tuesday is Z80 day. Hi from Smoky, California. Yeah, I've seen the pictures of that recently, and it looks horrific. I really don't envy anybody having to deal with that at the moment. Okay, right, let's get this wine open. So I am drinking wine again tonight, which, considering I've only just got rid of the hangover from Saturday, it's probably not a good idea, but sod it. I've not got work, so why not? Hey, my beagle. So I thought tonight we'd carry on with the dialogue stuff. I wanted to add paging into it as well. Oh, interesting. Stream Elements and Streamlabs both competing. Streamlabs is correct. Let me turn off. Forgot which one is relevant, so obviously it's not that one. Where's the custom commands? There they are. There you go. It's the top one, the Campo Viejo. Both rockets anyway. This one is not quite as expensive as the other one, but it's still a good wine. It's still a good Rioja. So I was trying to look for some more wines. So I've got a wine coming on Thursday, which I've not spent this much on a wine for a while, except maybe in a restaurant, but obviously they're overpriced in restaurants. But I bought a £30 bottle of red wine for Thursday. Just because I've never had it before and I've heard good things about it, so I want to try it out. It's a French wine. Which is called Chateau Neuf du Pape or something. But I've wanted to try it for a while, and it's a relatively expensive wine. But I found a place that was doing an offer, £30 for a bottle. So I've ordered that to give it a try, and we shall see how that goes. Hopefully it's nice. I'm not a huge fan of French wines, but I think maybe I'm just getting the wrong ones. So okay. Best wine ever, the 1997 excellent, but the Chateau Neuf. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to pay 1997 vintage prices, but I bought that for my dad's birthday mainly because it's one of Del Boy's phrases. I didn't realize that. Yeah, it probably is, isn't it? He likes to say these things, but yeah, it's quite a well-known French wine. I couldn't tell you what grape it's made from, because I know they do a couple of different grapes from that region, but I think the one I've got is a Syrah grape, so it should be quite nice. I do like a Syrah grape, but we shall see anyway. It's got a slightly funny taste. I'm just wondering if it's corked. No, I don't think it is. Maybe it's I don't know. Okay, it just tastes a bit strange. Might have got a weird year or something. It doesn't smell of wet cardboard or anything, so it's not corked. But it does smell strange. Okay. All right. So yeah, what I want to do tonight then is I want to try and take a look at the dialogue system. The Napa Valley wines are the best. I tell you what I do like. Russian River Reds are really, really nice. But again, they're a little bit more expensive than most. But they're nice. Okay, so we'd got something showing. We had some problems with the characters, which I think it's just char mapping. Although why it's showing this on the next line, I don't know. So oh yeah, let me put the race on for you guys. There you go. Yeah, Russian River is great. Yeah, I really like the Russian River Reds. I can't remember what grapes they are. But they're pretty nice anyway. Why is my chat behind so much? Okay. Right. Okay. So yeah. So we have the dialogue system in place, but at the moment it's just showing one dialogue, and then it's closing. So what I want to do tonight is make that work for multiple pages, and also fix the char mapping as well. So first of all, I need to figure out how to do the char mapping. So let's have a look. See character maps information on char map. I'm gonna make these small because they do make my face glow when I have it on really big. So character maps for information on character maps. Okay, so different coding than the encoding master. For example, the tiles used for uppercase letters just makes it difficult to add text strings. Okay, so we can create a char map, and it looks like it has. Char maps affect all strings in the file from the point in which they're defined until switching to different character map. Right, okay, so we set a character map. And then we add things to it. Okay, so mapping strings up to 16 characters long. Okay. Oh, do I have to do this for every single character? That is going to be irritating. Can I not just create? Well, let's experiment with it a little bit. Hey, Wisty2, welcome to the stream, dude. Jeff Boycott. All right, let's do this in the assets folder, I guess. This is where we're going to import our stuff in. We may as well put the char maps in here as well, I guess. So see, that doesn't look right. That doesn't seem to be picking up at all. It says new char map and then name, but it's not gone purple. So let's call it dot char map. Hey Prince Phase, welcome to the stream, dude. Okay, so this is a bit experimental because I have no idea what's going on here. So I was kind of hoping that they would turn. See, that one's turned purple. So maybe I just have to. Okay, let's try this out. Okay, so at the moment, what we're doing in the dialogue is we're subtracting 64 from it somewhere. So let me just find that and remove that. where the hell that might be. Add dialog. Yeah, so we're doing this subtraction here. So I'm just going to get rid of that for now and see if we can map some of the letters. So if I map D to 04, what does that map? So we should see a D where doc is in .cosmos. Oh, I've got a source code breakpoint. I can't remember where the hell I put that now. Crap, that's a bit annoying. I need to find that. Okay. There we go. Put it in the add dialog. Okay, yeah, so that does indeed seem to map that character correctly, and you can see it's doing the same thing on both lines, which is good. The reason we were getting different things on both lines is because we had subtraction on one line and not on the other. I'm a little bit concerned that I can't just do something like this and have that work from there, but I don't think that's gonna work. No. So I actually have to create a physical char map like this, which is super frustrating. But fine. But I mean, come on, this would be. This is frustrating. But okay, whatever. This isn't Z80's fault or GB Z80. This is the assembler's fault. So. Oh, that wasn't a bad guess, was it, at all? Do you know, after you sent me that list of things I say, I was thinking it'd be really good to integrate a Z80 bingo into the overlay, where you all purchase a ticket and you get a couple of phrases that I'm likely to say, and if I say them, you can mark them off, or maybe something to keep Andy busy. You can tick off the things as I say them, and it propagates into everybody's tickets. Okay, so we also need, but it was only a thought, but it's probably not going to happen, just to let you know. I like how Shannon gambles. It's like an, oh my god. Do you know what? Maybe that's what Z80 needs. Maybe it needs bone jaw. Oh god. Maybe it needs something like kick assembler. So like a really up to date assembler. It has got a strange taste with this one. I can't quite put my finger on it. It's not bad. It's not unpalatable, but it's definitely different. Okay, so we're just going to define our char map in here. I'm not sure why I can't just define a range of characters, but this will do, I guess, for the most part. Let's just do some tests with some numbers as well. So let's just move this across. Should probably open up another copy of this window so I can open up my tile pad. Antifreeze. Usually I can tell from the taste what's gone on. So like, and the color as well. But the color looks really, in fact, it looks spot on. So it's not oxidized. It's not old enough to be that kind of slightly orangey color, slightly orangey brown color. And it doesn't taste. It doesn't taste too fruity, which is, if you is it called cooked, overcooked, or something? It has like quite a strong fruity taste to it, and it doesn't smell like like damp, musty paper or cardboard, which you usually get when the wine's corked. So I'm not entirely sure what it is. So maybe it's just a bad bottle or something. I don't know. Okay, so let's just load up the latest version of our maps. I can't remember where the hell they are. Okay, so we do have some numbers. They start pretty much where we expect numbers to start, in the Petsky font. So let's add those in, and some punctuation as well. So I'll get this char map out of the way now while it's fresh in my mind. I don't like the syntax for this though. I think it could have been done in a much neater way. But okay, whatever. And then there's a little bit of punctuation. I think there's like 3 punctuation things, which are... Oh no, there's 5 actually. So dot, comma, slash, exclamation mark. So dot, comma, slash, exclamation mark, and a copyright symbol, which I'll just use for that. And they continue directly after the alphabet, so that is 1B onwards. Oh god, you know what? My headache is starting to come back just after 1 glass of wine. That's not a good sign. I might have to take my time a little bit with this. All right, let's just put some numbers in here. So let's do copyright 2020. Oh, it doesn't quite fit. There we go. That's comma, slash, exclamation mark. There we go. Okay, let's give that a try. Let me just close all these down. Hey, Rusty Games. Welcome to the stream, dude. How you doing, mate? Okay, that's looking all right, actually. Oh. I just said it's Matt. Listen, open your ears. I just said hello, Matt, as well, so open your ears, you moron. How you doing, Matt? How's things your end? You are drunk. Cheers, dude. No, are you with Andy Smith? Awesome. Hi, Andy. Shall I ban him? No, he's a good friend. He's a good friend. All right. Okay, that's kind of working. So we will do. We will add another page into the dialogue. So first thing we're going to need to do is just make sure we've added that into the character set, which I haven't yet. So I'm going to add it in here. Well, I'm going to add it just after it here. Is this my last Z80 game? Pretty much, yeah. I can't stand it. Yeah, I can't stand it. I don't want to say it's going to be my last because I'm not. I have enjoyed doing it. I actually find the Game Boy hardware quite nice to deal with, but but working on it is painful. Z80 is not a pretty language at all. Sorry everyone that grew up with Z80, but it's really not. So what am I going to start working with post Z80? So I'm waiting on the Mega 65. So when that comes out, well, actually, when the dev kits come out in November, then I'm going to start looking at it. Yeah, NES is definitely piquing my interest. because it's got the hardware set up that I like from the Game Boy. So it's it's the same kind of screen layout and um just the way the memory's set out and hardware set out. I definitely want to try, but it runs on a 6502, so it runs on a instruction set that I'm much more familiar with and definitely prefer. So right, okay, so let's save this again. I know I've got source control for this, but I am still just numbering them differently because I might want to drop around. Cosmos Kart would be right. Yeah, so I'm hoping to do a Kickstarter for this one actually. I do need to really plan it out. Well, I want to get the game to like 90% complete, 95% complete, minus maybe a bit of testing, and leave the world open for additional screens. There's kind of not really much of an upper limit on how big I can make this map. So Mandy says hi. Hi Andy, how you doing? There's another Andy. There's too many Andys in this channel. But that's a good point. We call him Mandy, so yeah, there isn't really an upper limit on what I can do for these levels. The only real limit is the size of the car. The car's huge, so I'm kind of thinking the stretch goals on a Kickstarter would be kind of additional level graphics in. There isn't an awful lot of room for additional graphics, but I have kind of got most of what I need so far. There's also a second tile set, so I could potentially use that to do more, because the thing is with the tile set is it's more of a palette switch than it is anything else. So we could in theory use this other tile set here for additional graphics if I need to, but I don't know. I'll think about that when I come to it. Like I say, I'm going to get the game 90% complete, and we're getting there now. I mean, most of the difficult stuff is done. And then when I do the Kickstarter, and if I do the Kickstarter, it's still in it at this moment in time. I have no idea how to do these things or how to price them as well. I don't know what the tax situation is like with it. I don't know what VAT, if I have to kind of deal with that. I have no idea how it works. So the last 10%. Well, kind of what I mean by the last 10% is the last 10% time wise. I realize the last 10% will be in terms of code. Will be like price it like it was Apple, to be safe. Yeah. Cool. So that's £400 for the game, and an extra £700 for us to post it to you. And if you want us to actually print anything on the box, then it's another £1,000. I charge for wheels, but I can't really add wheels to a cartridge. So okay, so let's export this. So I'm exporting really just this one extra character here, and this is gonna decide if so when we show a dialogue, it's going to decide based on that based on the way we launch that dialogue whether it's 1 page, 2 page, or more. So yeah, how much was it for those wheels? And yeah, Andy's right, actually. Apple do, so they fucking should. Delivery should be free. You pay enough for the bloody product. Okay, assets. Let's export that. Right, so this is character 232. So at the moment, we've just got a dialogue like this, and this is being launched. What's this? This is temporary code. Okay, we can get rid of that now. Don't need that. Don't need that. Close this up a bit. All right, so okay, so this is our dialogue printer here. So okay, so we've got a dialogue state, so maybe we can do it with the dialogue state. So in RAM, we have this dialogue state here, and we're using the bottom 3 bytes for for whether the dialogue is showing, whether it's moving in or moving out. So what we can do is we can tweak this to use the upper 5 bits of this for paging. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a little note here just to say the 5 bits of dialogs contain number of additional pages. So if you pass 0 in there, it will just show 1 dialogue and it won't continue. If you pass something other than 0 in there, what it's going to do is it's going to, once it's finished showing the dialogue and you press the button, it's going to then skip to the next dialogue and decrease these upper 5 bits by 1. We'll use the same location of text here. So let's create another row on here. So let's call this page 2. These need to be exactly the same length all the time. And let's call this page 3. There we go. So now we've got a 3-page dialogue here. Okay, so I think we'll probably wrap this in some kind of helper function instead at the moment, because at the moment it's a little bit kind of messy. We're setting up this, but then the value here is kind of a little bit of an unknown. What we're actually doing here is opening the dialogue and saying animate it in by setting these 2 bits. But that's not going to be super obvious just looking at it. So it might be worth kind of passing this in as something else or wrapping this whole thing. For now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it in as something else. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to add together the values that I'm interested in, or all of them together. Actually, is probably the better way. Actually, no, I'll just add them because it's does the same thing. It's fine. So we're saying open the dialogue, animated in, and that's the state that we want to set up. Oh, page 3 have bitty. Probably not. But it would be nice. See, this is where macros would be really nice. This is where a decent macro would really help here with parameters. So I'm going to take a look, actually, see if we can do that. Because I'm not I know we did use them here, but they didn't have any parameters in it. So I want to see if we can do this and pass parameters in, because that would be really, really handy. Okay, so what's it? Just macro, isn't it? Okay, macro. Okay, there's loads of instances of macro in here. Macro argument. Okay, in the body of an argument. Okay, so it looks like we can do it. We just need to work out how that works. Find an example of it. Okay, here we go. Okay, that doesn't have anything passed into it, but let's try creating one. So let's create a macro up here. Actually, I'm going to create it in the dialog system. So I'm going to create it here. And I'm going to call it open dialog. And that's the end macro. So then I'm guessing if you pass parameters into that macro, they will come through as /1, /9 and such. That's what it seems to be saying in the thing up here. So here, like macro argument /1 to /9 within a string. So invoking macros. Here we go. Let's key a macro by inserting its name. The coding closed. Okay, so you would just say loopy macro, and then you can pass arguments in. Okay, yeah, so you can pass arguments in like this. Okay, cool. So this actually should be pretty easy to do. So what we'll do is we'll define here what we're going to pass in. So what we're going to pass in is the dialog pointer, number of pages. So what we're expecting here is a word. So in fact, I'm going to write in brackets what it is, and a byte. So this will be /1. and this will be /2. And then we'll go and grab that code and we'll convert it into a macro. Right, so this is the code we're going to run. And this is going to be the macro. So what do? We take the low byte of our dialog pointer. So this is where it says dummy dialog. This is going to be /1. This is also going to be /1. This is going to stay the same because this is our RAM lookup for this. Even though someone has can do that. And then we're always going to need to set open and in, but what we do need to set now is the number of pages as well. So I'm going to do that in here, and that will be the number of pages extra page. This is the number of extra pages. So let's actually put that in there. So you'd pass 0 and if there was only one page, you'd pass 1 if there's one extra page, and so on. And this will be times 1, 2, 4, 8. So if we just multiply that by 8, that should give us the right value. So let's give that a quick test. Hopefully, let me just double check how that's invoked in here. Okay, so they're just comma delimited, which is pretty easy. Okay, so that means in here, we can just do open dialog, dummy dialog, and we'll pass 0 in for now, and then we'll see if this works, and if this works, we'll go ahead and do the multiple pages stuff. So okay, yeah, let's give that a run. Perfect. All right, cool. So we've got this working with macros now. I just want to double check that hasn't errored anywhere, because I do know sometimes this runs with. Okay, no, that was fine. Cool. Actually, that's kind of nice for a macro. I like it. I wonder if I can put brackets around it, because that would just make me feel a little bit more comfortable with it. No. Okay, so I can't use brackets to kind of drop the arguments and the parameters in, which is a bit of a shame, but it's fine. I can look at that and I can tell, this is definitely not Z80. This is something else. However, I wonder if that would mean you could potentially just create a load of macros for 6502 and just change it all into 6502. That'd be interesting. Anyway. Okay, so now let's try doing multiple pages. So let's try adding 2 extra pages in, which is what we've got down here. So I'm going to need another value in here. I'm going to put dialog pages left in here with 1 byte. It still won't set the flags on the load. No, it wouldn't. Yeah, that's a really good point. That's a really good point. You could make it so every time you load, you compare. Immediately, you could start comparing. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Andy. It will if you add it to the macro. Yeah, you could make. I'm pretty sure you could do it and make it fairly close to 6502. Obviously, it'd be a bit slower, I think, because you'd probably have to use weird trickery to get things like indexing working and stuff like that. So, but that would be kind of interesting to see Game Boy stuff written in 6502 anyway. But that's what the NES is for, right? So that's what we're going to be doing with the NES. So I say we're going to be. I don't know for sure. It depends on a few things. Firstly, I want to look into the viability of dock on the NES. I don't see any reason why it couldn't be done on the NES. It's certainly got everything I need, with the exception of raster interrupts, which I can cheat apparently. But I'd have to think about something about it, like, because with the T64 it was easy. You went from multicolor graphics to Petsky graphics. With the Game Boy, you're going from Game Boy Color to Game Boy Game Boy Mono. With the NES, there's not really an obvious timeline jump between the two, so I don't know how you would do it. Maybe go into a black and white mode or something like that. I don't know, but it wouldn't. It's not so obvious because it is supposed to be a kind of joke about the hardware, really, and the evolution of the hardware. But yeah, whatever. I'll have a think about it. I would like to do a NES game. He says it has to be dock anyway. It could be something else. Maybe we could do Luna on the NES. Luna would work really well on the NES with that scrolling capability. Okay, right. So got that in place. So let's go and have a look at the dialogue routine. Okay, so when we open the dialogue, all we're doing is setting the state. Nothing else is being set. Everything else is set in the init dialogue, which happens once. So really, it's down to the update dialogue to decide what needs to happen here. So we do have an initial kind of loading of the dialogue. Wow, that hurt my ears. Fuck me, that's loud. Oh god. Hayes, I really need to lip. Jesus Christ. I really. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Oh, yeah. I forgot I'd done that. Thank you for the bits, Hayes. Thank you very much. I am going to have to limit your TTS somehow. Maybe I'll make it dependent on maybe I'll make it dependent on how many bits. So you get one character for every bit you bet. Then at least I'm fleecing you for your bits at that point. Thank you for the follow as well, Mark Sands. And yes, thank you for the guys. I think a few people posted the video for the new follow alert from. I don't even know what I was roaring at, but yeah, it's I really like it, and I think somebody posted the clip and then somebody else slowed it down. So I can't remember who it was, and I do apologize. I was very hungover when I did this. So, but thank you very much for the follow, Mark Sands, and thank you for the video. Okay. Why am I getting an error here? Oh, I'm getting an error because I just reset it. Okay. One bit per 1 bit of a chart. Or I add the ASCII value of all the characters up. So you've got 100 bits. You can. No, make it really expensive. So for 100 bits, you can type an A and a number 0. Nah, it's fine. I'm not going to do anything like that. But Hayes likes to troll with the TTS, but he does refrain from doing it every 3 seconds, which is good. So, yeah, Foray, you did the clip, didn't you? That's right. Thank you very much for that. I think it was Chromos who slowed it down a little bit as well. Yeah, it's a great clip. I like it, and I definitely heard it better than I heard the last one. So that's good. Maybe check for a repeated string. Yeah, that's not a bad idea as well. The problem is I don't have control over the TTS. It's a Streamlabs thing, so or a Stream Elements thing. I can't remember who it is that actually runs it. I think it's Streamlabs. So unless there's some settings in there, I can't really do much about it. But Hayes is fairly reserved. He doesn't go mental with it, but he does like to spam it a little bit. So funny because I just have to stop. I just have to stop what I'm doing and wait for it to finish. Okay, so what am I looking for here? So I'm looking for something that is just going to trigger once right at the beginning. Actually, no, it doesn't even need to trigger right at the beginning. Basically, what we need to do, whenever we draw the dialogue, whenever we do the update dialogue, which we can do here, I guess. So this is dialog in, call add dialog. This is where the dialog's getting added. Okay, so this is where it's being added in, and these are the values that it's reading, and it's reading correctly at this point. What we need to do before we continue this point is we need to take the dialog state. So let me just check that that's not changing. I don't think it is. So we need to take the dialog state and we need to extract the number of pages left from it. And the reason we need to do this is because when we're going to add the dialogue, we're also going to add that character in the bottom corner as well. So repeated string would be easy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure Hayes would find a way around that. You forget Hayes has got like 37 million emotes. All he'd have to do is just roll his face on the keyboard a little bit and he could get a unique emote for 200 characters. Okay, so we're going to load the accumulator with the value of dialog state. Now, before we do anything with that, I just want to check in here that every time we look at dialog state, that we don't just compare it to 0, which we are doing there, but that's fine because that's the dialog being removed completely. But in all of the cases, we need to be testing bits, not for 0. So that is resetting a bit. That is testing a bit. That's comparing dialog text address. So that's fine. Dialog state, dialog button, dialog state. Okay, this should be fine. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that value that's in here and I'm going to logically shift this to the right. Now, I think that is that, but no, S shift to the right, logical. There we go. Accumulate. I think that's what it is, but I'm going to have to check it because I cannot remember these commands at all. Shift right, logical. Yeah, there we go. It is correct. Okay, sweet. Does he have a hedgehog emote? Oh my god, he fucking does as well. Unbelievable. What the fuck? Okay, Hayes, I think we need to give you an intervention, a Twitch addiction intervention. That's insane that somebody could just say something and you have an emote of it. Okay, right. So now I have the number of pages left. So actually, I don't need to store that in this. I don't need this pages left because it's already in the dialog state. So all I'm actually going to do is based on this value now. So I'm going to compare this to 0, and if this is 0, then we'll just jump to skip, which is just going to be this thing here. Hopefully there's not another skip in here. So it's not, which is good. And what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to load B with the 2 values that we need. So I'm going to start with the value that we're going to use if we're not having multiple pages, which is this one, which is 229. No, what's it? 229. Yeah. So that's 3, 4, 5. No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. All right. So we're going to load B with E5 here. Otherwise, we're going to load it with whatever the other one is. That's E8, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah. And then we're going to load the accumulator with B, and then we're going to store that at our dialog location here. Now that location is in the screen somewhere. I can't remember exactly where it's going to be. Okay, it's in this. Okay, so we're using the window location here. So we need to store this value on the 4th line. So we're putting that byte into there. So it needs to be on the 4th line. So this is line 1. This is line 2. This is line 3. This is line 4. And it needs to be, what's the screen width? I completely forgot what the screen width is now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tiles. So that's 20 characters across. So we need to bring it in by about 2. So I'm going to store this at 7.2, and I think that should be right. So this isn't going to make much difference, but we should see an arrow in the bottom corner there. Dialog 129. Let's do that. Cool. It looks kind of okay. I think I'm going to shrink it down a little bit and move it over by 1. So I'm going to move it over by 1, and then in here, I'm just going to reduce it down to slightly smaller size. Actually, I'll shift it over as well. Like that. There we go. So save this project. Export that. Oh, that was too far. Okay. Okay, so the original location was fine, I think. Why does that? It feels like it's going too far over. Hang on. Oh no, that's correct, isn't it? Because this is actually quite a wide character here. So if you look at these blocks here, these are the width of the characters. That is actually right. We could maybe add it to this in the corner. Let's have a look, or we can move it into the middle. I think that's fine for now. We'll oh my god, Hayes. What is that one? Where have you got that one from? Okay, I'm going to leave it like that for now. We can always adjust the positioners. This is going to be quite easy to adjust the position on. So I just need to make sure that if I turn the multiple pages off and just do a single page, that it doesn't show that. Which it doesn't, which is good. Okay. So now what we need to do is, if we press the fire button, then we need to do some small updates here. So this is our update dialog here. So if we press the fire button, this is all the way down here. So fire is pressed here, and this is what actually clears our this animates it out, which is not what we want. So what we want to be able to do here is, first of all, we need to grab the dialog state, and we need to AND the accumulator with everything except the last 3 bits. AND it with F8. If that is equal to 0, then we are completely out. So if that is 0, we'll jump to dialog complete, and that's going to be this bit here. At this point, we know that the dialog is finished. We've ran out of pages, so we can skip on. Otherwise, what we need to do is we need to come to we've already got the value in the accumulator, so we can shift right logically. So shift right, hang on, is that correct? Shift right, yeah, it is right. Right, I can do all this assembly, but I can't work out my left from my right sometimes. I still have to visualize it in my head, which is a bit worrying. There's button A and button B, no fire button. Yeah, okay, whatever. Set my ways, all right. Set my ways. Right is the side your mouse is on. Not if you're left-handed, it's not. I know I'm not left-handed, but do you know one way somebody taught me to do this? So it's probably not going to work on camera, but if you put your hands out like that with your thumbs pointing out, the one on the left is the one with the L. With the L, that's the right way around. But I I don't want to do that every time I need to work out my left and right, you know. So I just visualize it in my head. I can get it. It just takes an extra step of it's an extra step in my thought process. Post-it notes on my yeah. Do you remember the 80s comedian called Jimmy Cricket or Jimmy Cricket? I think he was called. He had left and right on his boots, and they were always on the wrong feet. Listen only works if you don't put anything after it. I need to change that actually because it should allow you to type something. All right, I'm going to go for a quick break. When I come back, we'll sort out the rest of this dialogue. I think getting the pages is going to work pretty quickly. So the next thing we'll do is we'll create some dialogue triggers in the game. I do need to update the editor to allow this. We'll have to do it manually for now. Yeah, Jiminy Cricket was the guy from the cartoon character from Pinocchio, wasn't it? But there was an 80s British comedian called Jimmy Cricket as well. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Be right back. Right, I'm back. Wide. Can't enjoy it while what is playing. Did you put Entertainer on? I missed it anyway. Ha ha ha. Oh, do you know what I didn't do as well? So I'm going to do it now. So everybody who came in the last hour, there you go. Bit late, but better late than never, eh? Okay. So at this point, we have the number of pages left. So because the number of pages has actually, we can probably do this in a slightly better way. I don't think we need to shift it. All we need to do is we need to reduce this number by 1 now. So we'll just subtract 1 from the accumulator. And then we need to I'm trying to think of the easiest way to do this now. Okay, I can load B with the value that's in the accumulator. Then I can take this and I can OR that with 7. And then I think I can do this. And that's just going to reduce that page count by 1. And put it back. There's probably a more efficient way of doing this. I'm just trying to think if there's a way of just reducing. Actually, yeah, there is a slightly more efficient way of doing it. Let me just see if the instructions exist for me to be able to do this. Because I know we can test individual bits, but what I want to know is, can we test a pattern? And it doesn't look like we can. So unlike the 6502 where you can just test a pattern, you would have to test individual bits. So I'm going to leave it like this. It'll be fine. And then we just need to call a dialog again. And then we can exit. So our dialog currently, so this is adding our arrows. So this is adds the page arrow. necessary. Otherwise, it just starts drawing, and it takes the value that's currently in dialog text address. So this is actually advancing through. It stores it in HL, and it does loads of increments. And then when it finishes here, it doesn't actually do any. It doesn't store this value back in dialog text address. So that's all we kind of need to do here, is we just need to put that value back in here. And then that means the next time it goes to display, it will be using the new values that it's incremented to. So see, and I'm learning I can't just do that directly. I have to do it through the accumulator. So I think that should be enough. Let's give that a try. Okay, no, so I'm not entirely sure what this did, but it did advance through some pages, but it kind of did it all immediately, which is wrong. Okay, so let's have a think about this. So we're doing this fire press thing here, and this is the issue. Let's just get rid of that a second. Okay, it's still advancing through multiple pages here, so that's not good. Now, is that because it's adding the dialogue every time? Maybe it is adding the dialogue every time. Ah. Oh, cheers. Turn the cooling on here. It's getting quite warm in here. Check the flags, check the flags. Thank you for the raid, cheers. Welcome along, dude. How's it going? Remove timeout on cheers. Did you time out cheers? My god. That's harsh. Welcome along, cheers. How is Human Race going? That's what you were playing just as I left. But yeah, thanks for the stream, dude. Thanks for the raid, dude. Welcome along, everyone. Let's come along with cheers. We're just in the middle of trying to get the dialogue working. Somebody just spammed check the flags, check the flags. Beat every level except level 4 as usual. I've not played that game yet. I should give it a try at some point. It does look kind of fun. Okay, so I think the issue is that we're doing this here, and we shouldn't be doing this at this point. So I'm going to get rid of that straight away, because this is being used actually to work out whether or not we need to add the dialogue or not. So instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a dialog initialize parameter here. And basically I'm going to load that address in instead. So I'm going to load dialog initialized. And if it's 0, we'll convert to 1 actually.
Check the flags, Shalon. Check the flags, Shalon. Check the flags, Shalon.
I am checking the flags. What am I doing wrong? What am I missing? Also, was that delayed or something? It's not showing up in my chat. It's not showing up in my chat. Thank you for the bits, Licorice. Very much appreciated. Okay, so basically I'm going to use this dialog initialize, and this is going to tell me whether or not the dialogue has been drawn or not. So essentially what's going to happen here is whenever we do this macro up here, we're also going to set dialog initialize to 0. So that's going to make sure that we've not yeah, we'll do that there like that. That's going to make sure that we've not actually set the dialogue up yet. And then in the add dialog down here, the first thing we'll do is we'll say, okay, now we've set that. So we'll load the accumulator with 1. And we'll store that at dialog initialize. It's because before we were using the memory address of the MSB of the memory address to do this. And now we actually need to use something else to do that. So hopefully that solves that issue. Okay, but we're not getting the arrow down here. Now that's probably because I've turned it off there. Okay. So we get an arrow. Okay, but clicking the button immediately skipped. And I think that's actually because I've commented out a section somewhere. No, I hadn't actually. I hadn't commented it out. So maybe it didn't debounce properly at this point. So let's see if it gets to this point. Okay, so it definitely gets to this point.
Straight up proving we can get you grooving. This track's booming, it ain't no hype. Watch us wreck the mic. Watch us wreck the
Fucking hell, PJ and Duncan.
Psyche. Let's get ready to rumble. Let's get ready to rumble. Get ready, get steady, and rumble. Everybody rumble.
And somehow better than the original song. Thank you for the bits, Hayes. That's spam I approve of. That's funny spam. Oh my god, I tell you what, I am getting a headache already from this wine. I don't think my hangover had quite gone yet. Yeah, I think it's a debounce issue as well, Andy. So I'm just gonna check that because now I've got a breakpoint in here. I should be able to run it, but it's not showing the second message. So let's have a look. So we load our dialog state. Okay, so let's do it again, but this time let's step through. Okay, so we've got the message there, and here's the breakpoint. So this is we're now gonna be able to step through this. So F3. So our value is 1, 4, which when we AND with 0.8 is 1, 0, which is not 0. So we should come to here, subtract 1 from it, add the original value back on, and or it with 7. Oh, wait, the accumulator is not right at that point. Or accumulator. Oh, we should be ANDing with 0.7. That's why, not ORing. Okay, so let's check through again. So we should have a value here, 0.4, which is our original. I really like that follow. It's brilliant. Thanks for the follow, sebthecat.com. Welcome to the stream, dude. Very much appreciated. I do like that follow. It really sticks out in my ear as well. So yeah, somebody clipped me doing a code raw the other night. So they put it into the Metro Goldwyn thing. So yeah, it's it's kind of funny. I like it. Okay, so B contains 0f, so we're going to add 0.4. So hopefully this is going to take accumulator to 1.3, which it does, and we put that back. Okay, so if I just continue this now, which I can't remember the button for continue, F9. Okay, so it showed page 2, but then it started going up again. So it's not quite correct. So, but it did show page 2, so it did add the correct dialogue in here. So let's just make sure that nothing else is changing the state in here. It's not. So this should be fine. In fact, we know this is fine because it is displaying page 2 correctly. But the problem here is that once it's displayed that, it still kind of wants to animate in for some reason. So It should just be on 4, but it's not for some reason. Okay, so let's have a look. So we load the dialog state. If it's 0, we exit. Otherwise, we checked it's 0, which it's not. It's not set. So if it's 0, we go to dialog out, which is here. We check if bit 1 is set, which it won't be at that point. So we go to dialog open, at which point we just check the joystick buttons again. So interesting. It definitely should not be doing this. It seems to be doing this. Sorry, this dialog in again. Okay, let's run it again and let's put some additional breakpoints in some places. So you have a load and then a jump. Where are we talking about here? You mean this bit here? Yeah, because this is set in the dialog state of the dialog is complete. So this dialog out is the animation out. And then once it's finished, it resets the dialog state to 0 and jumps to exit. Okay, let's run it again, but let's stick another breakpoint a little bit higher up. Once we hit this breakpoint. So there's the breakpoint. So now if I have a look at this compared to the original code, so we're breaking here at the moment. Now what I want to do is stick a breakpoint up at the top of this function. So let's have a look. So there's a sort A is there as well. Let's go right up to the top. Okay, so this is the top of the function here. So let's see what happens when we come into this function again. So let's press F9. So we're back in this function and we're going to grab the dialog state. So the dialog state is 1, 3, which is exactly how we left it, which is non-zero, so we should carry on. Bit 0 is not set, so we should jump to 08D9. Oh no, bit 0. Oh, hang on. Hang on. It's my maths here. I'm being stupid here. I'm doing something completely wrong here. So the value I've passed in is 2 as my page. So that means in my macro, what's happening is we're passing in 2. So 2 additional pages. And that's why it's wrong, because it should not be. Should it be times 8? No, it should be times 8. That's correct. Hang on. Yeah, that is correct. Okay, so that passes in 1, 0. Okay, I can see what's wrong. So basically we're working with the upper 5 bits and the lower 3 bits. So when I do this subtraction, I'm subtracting it from this ANDed value. So in this case, it's 1, 0. But what that's going to translate to if I minus 1 from that is 0f. And 0f, while technically correct, I should be ignoring the last 3 bits. It should be 08 because then I'm adding these values on. So I can change that by doing an OR here instead. Sorry, no, not OR there. It would be OR here instead. However, it is still going to set those bits. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to AND this value with F8 again. And that's going to make sure that that value stays in that top 5 bits. It's not going to change any of the bottom ones. Okay. Mario 2. I thought it was Mario. I was trying to think. Okay, so we come into here. So I'm just going to skip through and see if it shows page 2, which it does. Shows page 3 and then disappears. All right, cool. So now let's try it without the break point in, and hopefully it's already debounced, because we do have a debounce routine in here already. So technically it should be debounced, which it's not. Okay, so we need to make sure that we debounce that when we come in as well. So if it's non-zero, we go to exit. So we need to make sure that if this is 0, we immediately set this to 1 again here. So I'll just do that, comma 1. That should fix the debounce issue there. There we go. We've got multiple page dialogues, which is pretty cool. Cool. I want to see who wins the race. Oh. Doc takes it the last one. Some of these races are really close. I like them. That was some trickery. Okay, cool. So we've got a dialogue now which can display multiple pages, which is good. So the other thing I want to do it's the perfect volume as well. That's the great thing. Thank you, Juka Bazooka, for the follow. Welcome to the stream, dude. It is the perfect volume. It definitely stands out a lot more. Okay, so the other thing I noticed as well with the dialogue is it's using a palette that doesn't match the screen that it's on. Now, we can't change the timeline while the dialogue is open. So all we need to do is make sure that when we show the dialogue, that the very first thing we do when we show the dialogue is we set the correct palette for it. So if we look at our palettes in here, currently it's just using this one here. And while that's kind of going to look all right in the old timeline, in the new timeline it's going to look wrong. And one of the things I deliberately did with these letters is probably not see them very well, but I did set them up so that they had multiple bands of color throughout them. So I'm going to use probably something like this, palette 4, which actually is the same as palette 2, but I'll use palette 4 because I think palette 2 is a spare palette. Pardon me, which I might use later on. In fact, one of them is to do with that's a really good point. I need to check this. One of them is to do with the palette toggle for the what they're called, the torches here. So thanks for the follow, Empire. Appreciated, dude. Welcome to the stream. Okay, so palettes here. Yeah, and it is number 2. So number 2 we can't touch because number 2 is deliberately designed to make the bricks flash behind here. So we're going to use palette 3, I think, instead. Which should be fine. Okay, so what does that mean? That means whenever we do the add dialogue, we should also do the coloring as well. So here is where we actually add the dialogue in, and this is done just on the 2 rows in the middle. But really what we probably should do is this bit here, so what's happening in the init dialogue. So I'm going to copy pretty much this. Actually, no, I'll do it. See, no, I will copy that. That there should be enough, right? So we'll put a little note here. This is set correct palette. Okay, and so we're only setting the palette here. So that means we need to do a palette. We need to switch to character mode or whatever it is. So I'm going to go and find that in the map because I can't remember exactly how to do it. I know it's setting some value in ROM somewhere. You should be able to do so. Yeah, here we go. Oh no, it's not that one. It's this. Here we go. Switch to attribute map. So we switch it to 1, and then we switch it back to 0 at the end. Okay, so So to set the correct palette, first of all, we need to switch to attribute mode. We're not going to load a value from anywhere. That's not going to be the case at all. But that means we can use the H register to hold our palette number in. So we'll say that our palette is 0 to begin with. And what we'll do is we'll just check that against the timeline that we're in. So there should be a timeline check somewhere. Here we go. So this is kind of the same thing that we're doing here. So basically, instead of setting B, we set H. So we're going to set it to 0 here. We'll put skip 2 here. So I know I've got another skip up there. And I'll set this to, what was the palette number again? I forgot. Palette number 3. Okay. And that's going to give us a different value in H depending on whether or not we're in old or new timeline. So now all I need to do is, instead of loading the value that's in the location pointed to by HL, I just need to load the value that's currently in H and store that in DE. I can probably save a few cycles here by changing DE to HL. So I'm going to change this to D instead. So that's going to be changed to D there, and this is going to be HL with an increment. And this will be HL here. This is counting columns and rows, which is correct. That should be enough. That should color it properly. So what we should see now is, if the dialogue is on the new screen, we should see different colors. And if we're on the old timeline, we should see the mono style dialog box. Okay, so I've got it probably the wrong way around here. So this is fine. I just need to switch these values over here. Okay, it didn't go all the way to the end, which worries me a little bit. But it's kind of working. Now, why is it not going to the end? That's a question. Okay, so we're using D, and we're using C and B to compare the lines. Going on the next row. This could just be a timing thing. This could just be happening too slowly for this to happen in the V blank. Certainly possible. I mean, let me test that theory out by just dropping it down a line and changing the column there and see if that actually draws more. Okay, so it didn't draw more columns, that's for sure. Okay. Here's the problem. So we're using HL and then DE here. So so this needs to be L and this needs to be L. Then that can go back to there, that can go back to 4. So it's just mistiming in the loop. There we go. We have the dialogue working. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try and force the other timeline and just make sure that works. Which I think I can do. Init player, transition state, transition current. So if I do transition old here, we should start in the old state. There we go, perfect. And that's exactly how I want it. That's spot on. So we've still got that color gradient going through, but it's now using the old style timeline. So if you get a dialogue in the old timeline, it will look like this, and if you get a dialogue in the new timeline, it will look all colorful. Like so. Okay, so the final thing to do to get this dialogue system working is to have the trigger point. So at the moment, we're just doing these triggers manually, and we're doing them based on the macro that we created at the beginning, which is this thing here. What we need to do now is we need to actually change this up a little bit. So the way I'm going to deal with this essentially is I'm going to have some additional data in each level. So if we go and have a look at the levels. So this is the current data for the levels. So looking at this one is the first example. So we have I can't remember how many bytes that accounts to, but we have a set amount of bytes that define the screen data. I think it's 128 bytes we've got for the whole screen, and we're using. Well, actually, we can have a look if we just look in here. So it's 20 across, and I think it's 18 down. Yeah, 18 down. So that works out at 90 bytes in terms of tiles. Except we're not using the bottom row, so it's actually 80 bytes. So we end up with 48 bytes free. We're using 4 of those bytes to define what happens if you go up, down, left, right. So that leaves us with 44 bytes. Now, all these bytes need to contain everything we need to display one screen. So this is going to contain the enemies that are on that screen, where they start. Now, the enemies are behavior driven, same way that they work in pick and mix. So actually defining, all we need to do is define an enemy number, an enemy type. So that's one number, and a position, an X and a Y position. And then there's no 9th bit in the X position, so 2 bytes. So 3 bytes for every enemy on here. Now that can also apply to keys as well. And doors we're handling in the map data anyway, so we don't need to store doors in here, unlike the C64 version, which did have doors actually built into this data. So it leaves 44 bytes. We've got 3 bytes for each key or enemy that's on the screen, and I don't think there's any cases where there's more than 4 enemies on screen. I think 4 might even be too many. And multiple. So even if we had 8 enemies and 8 keys, no, that would take us too many. So 8 enemies and 4 keys, that would be 36 bytes. So that would still leave 8 bytes free. So what I'm going to do, there's never more than one dialogue on a screen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the next 8 bytes to define any dialogues. And these are basically going to have, let me think about this. How's the easiest way of doing this? So I think the way we can do this is we can define, the address of the dialogue. So let me space this out a little bit so it makes. I'm going to put some notes in brackets after these. So I need to reduce this by 8 as well. So this would be so this actually leaves us with 36 bytes, which is 12. So this is exactly right. And that's more than we're ever going to need. That's way more than we're ever going to need. Yep, drips, extra lives, they all count. So drips are just enemies. Extra lives are basically like enemies. They're just placed on screen. It's just their behavior is that they can only be picked up. But yeah, 8. I mean, this I'm calling it enemies and keys. It could be 12 keys. It could be 12 enemies. It could be any combination of those. It's just that we're going to have a list of single byte types, which are going to define whether it's a key, an extra life, even like the rocket at the beginning. That is it's also just an enemy that you place on the screen, and its position on the screen. And there's enough for 12 of those on each screen. And considering we can only have 10 sprites on a line, that's going to be more than enough, I think. And bear in mind as well that our main sprite is actually built up of 4 sprites, so it's actually 2 sprites at a time on a line. So you'd actually get 2 sprites for the player and 2 sprites for every enemy as well. So you're actually only going to get 5 enemies in a row, 4 enemies in a row with the player as well. But I don't think there's more than 3 on any level that I can think of anyway. I might be wrong. And I think keys and maybe extra lives we can do with characters anyway, in the same way we've done the doors. I don't know. It depends entirely how we lay the level out. We could just do it with all with sprites. Might be actually be easier with just sprites. Because we could animate as well then, which is something that the original dot didn't have. Actually, there was no animation on the keys. There was no not that there would be on the keys really, but on the extra life, it'd be nice if it shined or something like that. Might as well use those extra colors. We do have the ability to kind of use up to, well, actually more than 32 colors. But in a sprite, you've got 4 colors per sprite, but we can alternate between palettes, or so. And we can change palettes on the fly, so yeah. Okay, so this is the dialogue that we're pointing to. So this is saying if we hit this particular area, this is the dialogue that we're going to hit. But we're also going to need to know where that is triggered. So and how many pages it is as well, because that's not entirely obvious from here as well. So let's put the number of pages in as well. So this is 2 extra pages. And this is the dialogue pointer. He wants a life anyway. I had one once. It was a Ford Fiesta. Okay, so that leaves us 5 bytes to define this dialogue. And that should be enough. So the way I'm going to do the dialogue on here, so I did it a little bit differently on .cosmos. So on .cosmos, I was kind of limited to the amount of space I had. So I just went with single tiles. What I did is I had one particular tile on the screen that when you hit that tile, it triggers a dialogue. And it was just through kind of placement of those tiles that it kind of it worked correctly. You got the you would always hit the dialogues at the right time because you had to go through that tile in order to do it. However, we've got 5 bytes here, and memory's not a massive concern. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use 4 bytes here, and I'm going to define a rectangle with these 4 bytes. Now, rather than do x, y, width, and height, I'm going to do x1, x2, x1, y1, x2, y2. The reason being is it's going to make the maths a little bit easier if you don't have to deal with width and height, but you can just compare between 2 values. And basically, we'll be able to create a rectangle which becomes our becomes our kind of trigger area, if you like. And then the other thing I need to put somewhere, and this will be in RAM somewhere, is a list of dialogues per screen as well. So for every screen, there will be a flag which says whether the dialogue has been triggered or not. You should only ever be able to trigger a dialogue once. Once that dialogue's been triggered, it shouldn't appear again. I don't think there's any reason to have more than one in there, but we do have an extra byte which we could use for the number of times it could be re-triggered. So we could have like 255 in there, and then essentially the dialogue will trigger 255 times, which is going to feel like infinite, really. So, hey, Mr. Cola, welcome along, dude. How you doing? And thank you for the host. And thank you for the host, Buswika, as well. I don't know how to pronounce that. It looks like some kind of Celtic demon from the Middle Ages. That's I'm sure there's a thing called a Bwcca, is it? What's it? BWCCA? I'm going to check that out now. Hang on. No, maybe I'm imagining things. No, I'm imagining things. Fair enough. Doing pretty good. How things been with you? Yeah, they're all right. Thank you. Just kind of plodding along with this this Game Boy stuff now. Just adding in the dialogues and the triggers for the dialogues now. So I really don't like game. I like the Game Boy. I like the hardware. I just do not like the CPU. I think the CPU is absolute trash. And it's unfortunate because maybe one day I would have liked to have done a Spectrum game or an Amstrad game, but the Game Boy's put me off completely. Which is unfortunate, but whatever. All right, let's have a look. So we're going to use 5 bytes here. So well, actually, we're just going to use 4. So I'm going to put a unused byte on the end. We may use it at some point, but for now, we'll use this. So this is on screen, on the first screen. So this is screen 1-3. Okay, so that is actually, so this is row 0. So this is 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3. So it's this screen here, which doesn't seem right. 1, 3. Oh no, it's this one because I'm counting there. So this is 0 here. So this is 0, 3. This is 1, 3. So we'll put a dialogue in this area here. We'll try and do it and fill this area in here. So we're going to do this with character space, not task space. So this is going to be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we're going to start at 8, and what's that down? That is 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So 8, 12. So we'll do 8, 12. Obviously, this is all going to be in the editor at some point. Once I get to the point where I actually need to do this in the editor, then I will fill these in properly. But we need to add 4 and add 2. So this is going to go all the way up to 11. He's put this on. This is the birdie song. Right, there we go. That's our dialogue position. So let me just show Color where we're at with this. So what we've been doing today is this dialogue system here, just to allow you to have multiple pages in it. We've got most of the controls working. We've got the doors working. We've got the ladders working, although the sprite's wrong because you shouldn't be able to walk up ladders in this mode. But if you're in this timeline, you definitely would be able to walk up the ladders. So the reason you see that bug there is just because that ladder wouldn't be there, so you wouldn't see this animation at all. So that's working. The control methods are working in each mode. Death isn't working yet, which is why you can stand in the waterfall. Yeah, it's looking pretty good, to be honest. And it kind of fits the system nicely. I'm definitely pleased with it. It fits .cosmos quite well. Yeah, exactly. It's taking that same idea and just turning it into the Game Boy version of that idea. On the C64, it was obviously about going between Petsky and the multicolor mode, but on Game Boy that makes no sense. So you see in my original designs for the levels, I started actually implementing a Petsky set, and then I realized this is just not gonna. This is not going to work. This isn't going to feel right. Somebody who's only ever played the Game Boy is not going to understand what is going on with this character set. So I decided to go the other way and just do a palette switch instead and make it look like the original Game Boy, but was still with a little stick man in there. And I'm going to remove things like these animations. These are going to be simplified. The water's going to be simplified. Just going to tone the graphics down a little bit, so it still feels like original Game Boy, but it's not going to have like all the bells and whistles of this mode. On Spectrum, it could switch between shit and even worse. What do you do on the Spectrum? It's already terrible. How do you make it look older than it already is? I mean, I guess you could make an ASCII version of it. Just pure ASCII screen. Turns into a text adventure. Oh man, that would be kind of funny. I must admit, I am slightly tempted by the Spectrum Next, and I know I've only got 2 days left or less than that now to buy one. I'm kind of hoping to avoid it completely, but I am tempted. There's enough of them sold that it's an interesting prospect. But I'm banking on the Mega 65 being able to, first of all, emulate the Spectrum Next, which I think it will be able to do. But also just be a similarly popular machine, which I think it very well could be, depending on the price. Bear in mind that the Spectrum Next version 2 is £300, so it's not cheap. It's not as cheap as I think the first one was a bit less. So okay, right. Let's put the dialogues in. So first of all, we need to take out our original dialogue call, which was in here. We need to replace this with some stuff in the player code. So we also need in the RAM, we're going to need something to say that a dialogue has been opened or not, and this is going to have to be reset. So in the dialogue init, we're gonna clear these values. So we can do it here. Dialogue shown list. Now this is going to be a little bit of a waste of memory, but I'm not too fussed about a bank of zeros. It's in RAM. This is just free RAM that we've got, and we've done the majority of our kind of heavy stuff already in RAM 0. We're using extended RAM here now. We should be fine to use this, but yeah, I'm gonna, in the dialog system on the initialize, I'm gonna actually reset all those values to 0. So this is just gonna make sure that when we start the game up, that it's going to reset all the dialogues, so all the dialogues can show again. So load B with 2, 5. Can I do it like that? No, load it with 0. There we go. Load accumulator with, well, load it with 0. Actually, we can do this like this. This would be a byte saved. Go. So this is clear dialog shown. And this is our loop here, which I'm guessing we've already got a loop there, so I have to call it loop 2. There's this thing called the Amiga. Part of me wants to give the Amiga a try, but part of me it's too much. It's too close to kind of the fragmentation that you get with PCs and stuff, and for me that's not exciting. I don't want to have to deal with writing 10 branches of code just to handle one thing, because there's so many different things you need to deal with. Whether or not a system has this much fast RAM, this much CPU RAM, whether or not it's there's too many variables there for my liking. Also, Amiga is kind of on the border of that kind of, the graphics are far too good for me to be able to do anything meaningful with it. So, but yeah, hey, old school Kodo, welcome to the stream, dude. Yeah, it could do what the devs did back in the day, target for the lowest common denominator. Yeah, that's the thing. The other thing I always want to do with hardware is push it to its limits. So my problem with the Amiga is that what I'd end up doing is I'd end up trying to write something for the best hardware, which is going to limit its appeal as well. That's why I like these kind of closed box architectures like the C64 and even the Spectrum. I don't like coding for the Spectrum, but if I think I would prefer to code something for the Spectrum than I would for the Amiga. I would get annoyed kind of with some of the variants. Plus, as I say, I'm not good enough to make plenty of things on the Amiga graphically. So, and I know I can get help with that. And in fact, I'm going to have to get help with that for the Mega 65. But the Mega 65 excites me a lot. I really can't wait for that. It's going to be so cool. Okay, right. So we're going to load the address from that in there, and then we're just going to load the value of accumulator into there, and then we are going to decrease B, and if it's non-zero, we'll jump to loop. And there we go. So this is just going to clear those dialog shows. Now you can edit on an iPad. I can't think of anything worse. Mega 66. Yeah, I really can't wait. But what I'm really looking forward to about the Mega 65 is that it is incredibly close to the C64 architecture, more so than the Commander X16, more so than C128 mode on the C128. It is basically just a C64. It's just they've supercharged it in lots of areas. Lots of the addresses are the same. Lots of the kernel calls are the same. There's a lot of things that are exactly the same. It's just that they have enhanced functionality and enhanced speed, and I'm really looking forward to things like relocatable zero page, relocatable color RAM, being able to shift screen RAM anywhere, not just on not just on what 1 kilobyte boundaries, but just shift it anywhere I want to. Not being limited to 256 sprites, being able to use 16-bit sprite pointers, having one extra register, a Z register, which is gonna change things quite massively, because it means those bits of code where you had to kind of move things into temporary zero page storage or something like that, is now suddenly you've got an extra register to play with, so you're gonna be able to speed that up. Plus the fact that in Mega 65 mode, most of the instructions take almost no cycle time. They're all like 1 or 2 cycles, bar a few of the kind of really extreme ones. Most of them are really quick. So it's going to be interesting to see what it can do. Plus, it can do things like full color. I say full color. I think it's like 256 color sprites and things like that, which is pretty impressive, really. And it manages to do 16 color character mode as well without using bit planes. So you don't have to update 16 bit planes independently or scroll them independently. You literally just point to a different area of screen RAM and you've got hardware scroll. So you've got NES and Game Boy style hardware scrolling. So yeah, I'm well, sort of. You can move the screen full 8 pixels at a time without using VSP, just by relocating the start of video memory. But you can also layer multiple screens very easily as well, which I'm looking forward to. It's going to be good. It's going to be a lot of fun to play with, I think. And I'm hoping I can get somebody on board to help me do some graphics, because I want to do a PC Engine quality shooter for the Mega 65. So I want it to feel like R-Type on steroids sort of thing. I want it to be really nice graphically, really nice playability, make full use of the quad SIDs, so it sounds amazing. And make full use of the VIC-4 hardware as well, so it just looks amazing as well. But still, I want to keep Commodore 64 palette-ish. So I want some. I want to use the 16 colors of the 64 palette as a base, but then I want to have like 2 darker shades of them, 1 brighter shade of it. So it's actually 64 colors, but it's like there are now 4 shades of red, 4 shades of pink, 4 shades of yellow. And then I think that, because I think the C64 palette is amazing. I think if an artist was let loose with an extended C64 palette, I think they could do some amazing stuff. 40,000 shades of brown. Yeah, that's all the rest. All the rest will be brown. Okay, so what we're going to do now. So all we're going to do is, when the player control is finished, which I'm guessing we call from main. So I don't want to do it in main. Yeah, we do it here. So I'm not gonna do it there. I'm gonna do it in the end of this, I guess. Yeah, we'll do it here. Okay, so we'll call check dialog trigger. Now, the reason I'm going to call it here is because it needs to be based on the player control. And there's no point just having more and more of these kind of things set in here. It's always going to be triggered as part of the player control, so it may as well just be in this here. So this is going to be a new function. And what this is going to do is this is going to take our player X and our player Y, and it's going to compare it against the current screen values that point to these things here. So first of all, I want to go and check if we're actually copying these anywhere. I don't know if we are, so I'm hoping this map routine actually copies them somewhere. Because I know we do with the north, south, east, west thing. I just don't know if we do with the rest. Let's have a look. Doesn't look like we are doing. Oh yes, here we go. D now points to the end of map data, so we are storing that into RAM. So we have some RAM here. Yes, here we go. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to create 8 bytes for the dialog and do the same thing as here. So this is going to be dialog. I'll call it dialog screen _ screen, so it just matches the format of that above, and it's just going to be 8 bytes. And essentially, this is just going to contain this data here. Now, I'm just wondering, I can probably do this in a simpler way. So, can I affect HL here? I can affect HL, but I've already got D set at this point. So, okay. Actually, can I do HLDE? Can I do that? Is that valid? Let's go and have a look if that's valid code. I'm not sure if that is or not. Node. Register 16 with number 16, but not register 16 with register 16. Okay, I can't do that. So I'm gonna do it manually like this, and I'm gonna do it down here so I can just comment this out. Okay, so we have the end of the map data, which is this bit here. So we're at this point basically, and I'm just going to transfer that into HL. So the reason for that, and hopefully I can do that without going through the register rate. Yeah, okay, I can do that. Now the reason I'm doing that instead of doing this is because here we're just doing lots of lines of code repeated. I don't want to do that. What I want to do is do these individually. So I'm gonna use D now to count down some bytes, and I'm gonna create a loop. So this is going to be loop north, south, east, west, which is just copying on north, south, east, west things. And this is going to load the accumulator with the contents of HL, incrementing it by 1. Oh, actually, we do need. Okay, we'll do this with B. I can use B there. Load B with that. Yeah. Okay. Which means here we need DE. Like that. There we go. Jump if not 0 to loop. Okay, so that's doing the same thing as above, but now it's doing it in a slightly neater way. Not hugely neater, but it is slightly neater. It is doing it in less bytes, that's for sure. And the reason why that's going to work better for us is because when we do the next bit, we need to do 8 bytes. So rather than have the same 8 lines copied all over the place, we can do this a lot neater by doing it like this. So this is loop dialog and 0.8 here. Okay, so this is type these are doing. So this is okay, and so what that means is now we don't have to go and look in the map data. We can look in RAM because we've copied it into RAM. So let me. Sorry, just catching the chat. Realize I'm waffling on. Oh, thanks for the host, Andy. I missed that completely. Maybe I need to change my host message as well. Do that at some point, I'm sure. Okay. Okay, right. So now we have that value in dialog screens. So I should, in theory, be able to, in here, check those values. So we have a player X and a player Y, but these are in sprite coordinates. So we're going to need to take those sprite coordinates and turn them into char coordinates. Now we should already be doing that in the collision somewhere, which I don't see. Here we go. Get char position. So this takes a sprite number, an XY offset, and then does what? D points to the right offset. So this actually gets. Okay, this is a bit more that this is actually grabbing the address on screen. We don't need that much, but what we do need to do is we need to do something similar to this. So I'm going to sneeze. In fact, do you know what? I'm going to go for a break so I can have a sneeze as well. And then when I come back, we'll finish off this bit. We're doing pretty good. I should be able to finish this in an hour, I think, and then we can move on to something else. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. I don't know why I say that every time. It's not like you would think otherwise if I've just appeared on the camera. Why not? Oh, God. Just check back through the chat even. Okay. Something I've not even considered yet is the music for this as well and the sound effects. So we might have to do a stream where we create a music player. I could probably use an off-the-shelf one, but I kind of want to have a go at writing my own. I'd have to have a think about it, but and I'd have to look at the Game Boy sound chip and see if I can make this work properly. But should be all right, I think. So, oh my God, there's a SID called COVID-19. Oh my God, seriously, wow. Okay, so we need to take our player X and our player Y, which we've got here. And we need to check them against the trigger. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to check if the trigger is even active. So if the trigger's not active, then something will be 0. So what is a good thing to check? I guess we can check these values here, because if the high value is 0, then it's probably not going to be being used. So that's the first thing we'll check. We'll just check that. So we're going to load the accumulator with our dialog. Is it screens? Screens. There we go. plus 6. So we're going to load that. We do need to compare. It doesn't set the flag, so I know this now. And if it's 0, we can return. So this is just making sure that if the dialog is not set for that screen, that it won't trigger. So we won't be testing anything on these screens, only on the screen that we set the dialog in. So the next thing we need to do is we need to actually our macro is going to have to change slightly, I think, because now we've got these values here. So we're going to have to use. Oh no, it's fine. We can use. I can. Yeah, I'm going to have to change the macro slightly, but I shouldn't be. It will just be open dialog. That's all it will be. Okay, so the other thing we need to do now is we need to check if our dialog has already been opened. So we're going to check not dialog screens. Where was it? Dialog shown list. Here we go. So we're going to load HL with our dialog shown list address, and we're going to add our current screen number in. So we do have a current screen number here. So we should, I think, this is the other one that I get confused with. So let's have a look. Addition, 16-bit arithmetic. So we can add to HL a 16-bit address. I don't want to do that, but I do want to add. Okay. Okay, no. So all right, we'll have to do this manually. So we're going to load the accumulator. with L. Yeah, okay. And then we're going to add the accumulator, the contents of current screen. And then we're going to load that back into L. Then we're going to load accumulator with H. And we're going to add with carry 0. And we're going to load that back into H again. Right. So now we have the information in HL to say whether or not whether that screen's been shown or not. We can only compare the accumulator against either the contents of HL. Compare accumulator. Okay, so we'll just do it this way. So we'll compare the accumulator with 1, because if this value has been set, then the dialog has been set, and again we'll return if 0. So what this is going to mean. So this one is, do we have a dialog for this screen? Has it already been shown? Okay, and I'm just going to put a break in here and a return. So what we should get here is, as soon as we go onto the screen that has a dialog, we should get a break. Dialog 252. Okay, so I can't add the value. Okay, so I would have to. Okay, so if I do this. I should fix that. Okay, so it's breaking immediately. Now, is that correct? What is our current screen on at this point? So our current screen is at D019. So let's go D019. And that is indeed saying 0. So is that correct? Are we on that screen? I can't remember if we start on that screen or not now. No, we start on this screen. So still says screen 0 on here. I'm not sure that is actually screen 0. Let's have a check. So it's saying 132333. Okay, so this is column 1. This is 3. So this is actually screen 1, sorry. Interesting. Okay, so not sure why in the past few weeks Shannon's stream is a bit low res in buffering. Or buffering, okay. Okay. High tech. Seen someone program with assembly for the first time and no idea what I'm looking at. That doesn't change for a month or two, even if you start doing it yourself. Yeah. I did have a mess around with the streaming settings the other day, but it shouldn't have affected anything. It should still be 1080p 60. And the 5G is on, so it should still be streaming at max rate. And I don't have any drop frames. In fact, I've got 0 drop frames. That's kind of impressive. That never happens. Okay, so why is this current screen wrong? That's what's bothering me here now. So I just want to kind of check, right? If I go into this screen, What does my debugger say is going on? Oh, why can't I see the debugger? Okay. Oh, okay, fine. Okay, fine. I'll restart. Whatever. Okay, so at this point, D019, this is apparently our screen number and it's shown as 0. If I go to this, I go to this screen, it's still 0. If I go to that screen, it's now 0, 1. Okay, so current screen is not actually set in the first instance. So we need to make sure that is set. So when we call map draw here, we need to make sure that that value ends up in current screen, which is not at the moment. So I'm going to do it here. I'm going to load the accumulator with the value that's in C, and then I'm going to store that at current screen. So, and that should solve that issue. So now if I put a breakpoint back in here, we shouldn't break until we go back to the original screen, until we go back to the first screen. So yeah, here we've broken again. D019. Oh no, that's maybe I've just got the code wrong here because it's breaking all the time now. So that should maybe be non-zero. Okay. Oh no, it's breaking all the wrong times here. Okay. Okay, this is fine. Let's go up here and put the breakpoint in here and see what's actually going on. Okay. Okay, so the breakpoint is happening here. Current screen is shown as 0, 1, which is correct. Okay, so now we transfer that into the B register. So B now also contains 0, 1. And then we go and have a look at the screen lookup code. So I'm just going to check through here, make sure the screen dialog screens, dialog shown list. Is it D033? Okay, so we're going to load HL with D033. So that's correct. And then we're going to add B to the accumulator. And we're going to put that back in HL. So now HL is D034. We're going to load the accumulator with the value in HL, which is 0. We're going to compare A to 01, which means 0 flag is not set, which means... Wait. Compare A to 01 if the value is 0. So this should be return if 0. Hang on, is that right? Return. Also, this is wrong. It shouldn't have got to here. We're not on the right screen. This should not have got to here. Okay, so that's a problem. Okay, so this should be 0. But the problem we're having is we're failing at this point here. So okay, so D028 is our dialog screens. Dialog screens start at D022. So we should be seeing a load of zeros at this point, which we do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Actually, we do see something other than 0 at this location. I don't know why that would be there, because we're on this screen now. So what should we see on this screen? What we should see is these values in RAM, sorry. This is D022, so we see 0, 2, FF, FF. So this is correct, but then we're only seeing 6 bytes and then non-zero stuff here. So I don't know why this is... I know why. Because this isn't actually filling... This is just reserving bytes. Shit. Okay. No, this should be filling. This should be filling with zeros. should be zeros at that location, but it's not copying it correctly. That's the problem. So let's have a look in here. Okay, this should be fine. Let's put a breakpoint in here. Make sure we get to this correctly. Why's that not loaded? Let's close these down. So many windows open. Okay, so we've broke at this point here. Okay, so let's check through this. So load D with that. Load accumulator with HL. Okay, so this is what should, in theory, be just transferring 8 zeros. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then this one broke for some reason. No, it's a 0. And it's been stored at D029. So this is filling in correctly. This is D028. This is D029. That should be complete at this point. So I should be able to press F9. But then look, I come back to here. And then those values have been overridden by something else. Why have they been overridden? Okay, so let's have a look what else we've got here. Collision char address. It's probably not that. That's bizarre. Something else is changing those values, and I'm not sure what it is. Hey, Cosmin. How's it going, dude? How's work? Or your work, should I say? It's not my work anymore. So you put a test value in a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on there. It's a weird one. Because it's annoyingly, it's just the value I want to check. Hang on, am I copying that value? Oh, fucking hell, I'm an idiot. I'm an idiot. Can you see what I've done wrong here? It's the value I wanted to check because I was actually storing the accumulator in it. I got the load the wrong way around. Okay, right. So hopefully now this should probably work properly. Why am I getting a break there now? Did I put another break in? Or have I put another break in and I've not realised? Not one there. You just close everything. Maybe it's some kind of hang up here. No, it keeps breaking here. Okay. Oh, this is. I have got a break in, and I know where it is. It's in my map code. It's here. There we go. Fuck's sake. Okay. Peachy. I'm glad it's going well. There we go. Perfect. So we're broken on the right screen now. And this will just keep breaking on this screen. And the reason it's going to keep breaking on this screen is because we're not actually checking if we're hitting the dialog area. So that's the next step. So now we've got that working. Down here, we can start checking now. Check player position. So I'm not going to be super accurate with this. All I care about is whether the top left corner of our sprite is in the dialog area. We can always resize the dialog areas to compensate. We can always have the output from the editor adjust these values to match the sprite. So essentially what we would really be doing, so I should be able to draw a rectangle. So I do have copy mode on here. So what we're trying to do is, oh, I thought I had copy mode on, but I don't apparently. Oh, I can't remember how to do copy mode on here. Fair enough. Ah, there we go. So this is the area I want to check, but the sprite is about that size. Oh, it does weird things when I zoom in and out. Okay. I need to fix that. Let's zoom right in. There we go. So the sprite is about the size of a tile. So this is currently what I'm checking as the dialog area. But maybe what I should actually be checking is this. And the reason for that is because if the sprite is in this position here, just a little bit down from here, then his feet are going to be touching this area here. So he's kind of hit the dialog at that point. And likewise, if the sprite is here, stood over this side here, he's going to be that top left corner is going to be inside this box, and it means he's going to have hit the dialog. So actually, I'm going to switch the dialog to display like that. But what I'm going to do is in the editor is when you create something like this, it's just going to adjust it. It's going to shorten it by 1 and heighten it by 1. So you're going to end up with with something like this. That's what the value is going to actually be, but in the editor you will see it like that, so you know it's a dialog box. So let's change those values a little bit. So I need to reduce the X by 2 and the top by 2 as well. So that's here. So we're going to move the top up by 2, so which is this one here. So I'm going to move that to 10. I'm going to reduce this one by 2. So now it's going to be a little bit less wide and a little bit higher. So can the SIDS go up a nudge? Yeah, sure. Steps comment. Oh, yeah, already done it. Too slow. Even your lag isn't good enough yet. Yeah, I've nudged it up already. Yeah, I'm not enjoying that line tonight. I don't know why. I don't know if it's... I'm sure I've had a 2018 before from these, so... But they do make a lot of this, so it could just be a bad batch, so... I don't know. Saying that, I've still drunk most of it, so you can't really see that, but... Can't be that bad. I'm just fussy, I guess. Okay, so we're going to check the play position. Okay, so the play position is in sprite quadrant. So this is very similar to what we do with the C64. We need to take the player X position, and we need to subtract the border from it. So much like the C64, the sprites on the Game Boy can go 16 off to the side. There is a border. Now, even though you can't see that border, it's never displayed on the screen. The screen goes all the way to the edge. Well, it actually doesn't go to the edges on this because it's square. And this is like a widescreen, more like a 4:3 format than a 1:1. Even though you don't see that border, the sprite still needs to be able to go behind it. And that's because if you've got a sprite that's 16 wide, it still needs to be able to slide off to the side. Except it's not 16, it's 8 on this. And that's because you can have double height sprites, but to create a double width sprite, you just need to create 2 sprites. So you would just turn one set off. So basically we need to subtract 8 from this. So that's kind of easy. We just subtract 8 and there we go. This is our player X. And now we can check the player X against certain values. So first of all, we'll check it against the lower position here. So our lower position is this one here. So we're going to grab, it's not there, it's this one in here. So dialog screens. And we're going to compare that against dialog screens plus 0, which is our lower X. And so the nice thing with this is we can use the return condition thing here. So we're going to return if the carry flag is clear here. I'll have to double check this, but I think it's the same as the C64 here. So carry is clear if it's less than that value. But I always get confused with the way these comparisons work like this. So we might have to double check that. And then we'll do the same here. We'll compare the dialog screens plus 2, which is the upper X value, and we'll return this time if the carry is set, which means we'll break if we hit that value. So now we should be able to get to that screen, and it won't break until we hit the X position on this screen, so the level that we need to be at on that screen. No, it's failed. It's probably because I can't do a comparison directly with that value. Okay, I can't compare directly against the value of memory. So what I have to do here is, I think I could do this. Yeah, that works. Perfect. Cool. So everything's fine, but as we nudge into this area, we should get a breakpoint, which I'm not getting. Okay. Okay, that's fine. So let's put a breakpoint here. Make sure we actually get to that area. Oh, I know why. Because we're still in sprite space. So this value, we've subtracted 8 from it, but we're still in sprite space. So we need to shift this to the right. So we're going to do shift right logical of the accumulator, and we're going to do that 3 times. And that's going to divide that number by 8. Still not right though. So let's put a breakpoint in here. See what values we're getting out of this. Okay, so our breakpoint has hit now. It's claiming that our character is at 1, 2, so that's 18. And certainly if we try and run a couple of times, that does seem to be the case. So if you look at this side of the character here, it's in line with this, and this is character 18 because we start at 0 on this side and it's 20 across. So that seems to fall in line with what we would expect here. So I'm going to move this breakpoint now by removing it there. And we've got a comparison here. So I'm going to put that there. So we're comparing against the value that's in HL. So let's go and have a look what's in D033. And the value in D033 is 0. Okay, so that is wrong. Because these values should now have the dialog data from our screen. So that is probably the issue here. We don't have the right data. Or is it dialog D022? Okay, dialog screens is at D022. So why is it getting D023? That's interesting. That should not be the right address. Okay, let me just double check that in here. Oh no, load HL D022. HL is D022. D022 is 08. So this is our lower bounds here. Let's put some breakpoints in it. Okay, so I was right. I was just looking at the wrong area, that's all. Okay, so return if the carry flag is not set. Now the carry flag is not set here, so we will escape. And that's because our value... Okay, so this is the opposite way around, actually. So yeah, if I just come in here and run it with no break, do I run with no break? Run with no break. and then come into here again. Okay. So now we're at this point. Our value is 0A, but we're still showing non-carry. So these carry flags are the wrong way around. So it's it's still working the same way, but you've got to kind of flip it on its head because of the way the comparisons are actually described, if you like, in the code. So flipping those two over should give us the right behavior here. So we should see. Okay, interestingly, we didn't see it when we hit as soon as we got to this area. We only saw it when we got over here, which makes me think that this value in here is kind of wrong. Let me think about that. Okay, so the value would be... Oh, no, it's because I'm doing it. It's because... Ah, okay. So what I said was this was the area we tested. This would be what we're actually checking against. But that's not correct. The actual area we're checking against is that. And the reason it needs to be that... Hang on, no, that's not right. The actual area we're checking against is that. No, that's also not right. It's that, isn't it? So if the sprite is here, then he's just about touching that. If the sprite moves into this way, then the left there. Yeah, so if we look at the top left corner, that's what it's based on. Okay, so I do need to change this a little bit. Okay, so the original values were that 8, 12, 11, 13. So I need to change. So this is... That is 8 to 11. So that needs to change to 6 to 11. And this needs to change from 12 to 13 to 10 to 13. Like so. All right. So now there we go. So if I edge in enough, then I hit the breakpoint. So I might need to tweak these values a little bit, but the idea is kind of solid. It's kind of working there. Okay, so if we get to this point, we now check the player position Y. So we do exactly the same thing, but we do it with the Y. Which means we just do Y here, and we take 1 and 3 here. And this is the upper Y. So at this point, we can open the dialog. And this is where I need to go and change the macro. Okay, so the macro is here. And instead of grabbing a parameter that we're going to pass in here, we can just grab it from RAM now instead. So we've already got dialog screens here. So this would be dialog screens plus 2, 3, 4, 5 for low, 6 for high. And then this bit needs to be calculated now. So we're going to all these two values in, but we're going to start by grabbing dialog screens plus 4. And we're going to shift this logically left. Is that it? Shift logical. I've got to go and check this now. The bitwise operations have got really horrible format. Shift left arithmetic. No, see, I want shift left logical. It's rotate left logical through carry. Actually, shift left arithmetic shouldn't matter anyway, so let's just do it that way. So there we go. So that will add the page number and that should open. Okay, so now we should get a dialogue when we walk into that area. Except it's failed because dialog 295. I like this tune. Oh, okay. Why is that not working there? That should be fine. I don't know why that's not working. I need to put that after it, maybe? No. Oh, main. Okay, dialog 295, open dialog line 8, main 29, open dialog line 8. Okay. Ah, there we go. Okay, I was just reading it wrong, that's all. There we go. So the animations are carrying on, so we need to fix that. Okay, and the dialogue is repeats showing all the time. Also, it's yeah, I need to think about the positions for the dialogue, but it's kind of working though. Problem is it keeps showing again, and that's because dialogue shown is not being set. So what we need to do here, I can get rid of that now as well. Can load the accumulator with 1, and then we can store that at dialog. Shown list, which is in HL, but now we're using HL here. So I'm going to... I'm going to use DE here instead. The reason I'm going to use DE here instead is so I can then push it to the stack before I call the dialogue, and then pull it back again when I'm done. So hang on. D load accumulator with contents of D. Can I do that? I'm pretty sure I can do that. I hope I can do that. Oh shit, you know, I have a feeling I can't. No, I can't. Okay. Okay, that's fine. Please tell me I can load. Yeah, I can load one register to another. Can't I? That's fine. So, and then here I can just do one. So this is dialog shown address, which is now stored in DE. Then I can load that back. So I can HD L E. Okay, that should prevent it from appearing. Let me just check I'm not using D anywhere else. Not okay, right. So we should only get it once now. Oops. So obviously the bounding boxes for the dialogues need to be looked at, but there we go. We've got it just showing once now. So now I have a working dialogue. So I'm just going to check that I can spawn the dialogue in the old mode, and then we'll turn the animations off as well. Because we want the player sprite animations to start. I don't care about the background animations, but player sprites definitely should stop. So let's go into this mode. See if we can trigger that dialogue. And there we go. We've got dialogues working. Excellent. So let's try and turn the animations off. So we already have some stuff in here for checking if the where is it? It's in the player controls. Well, I think it's right at the beginning actually. Yeah, there we go. Dialogue state. Okay, so we'll just do the same in animations. Animate player sprite. Call animate player sprite now. Simply just don't if we're in there, and hopefully if this runs we should be fine. Okay, I want to do that again, but not falling, because falling doesn't have a multi-frame animation. So I want to do it by edging across like, there we go. So it has stopped the animation. That's perfect. Sweet. Okay, cool. So we've got dialogues working. Cool. I'm not sure what to do next now. Not sure what to do next. Let me have a think. Do you know what? I'm going to go for a quick smoke. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go for a smoke, and then I'll have a think about what we'll do next when I come back. But yeah, dialogues are working now. Obviously, the link between the editor and the dialogue values needs to be looked at, because I need to have a good think about what constitutes being inside this area or not. But yeah, we'll have a go. Check the poll. What poll? Oh, what are you on about? Or are you on about something else? You talking to someone else? Oh, I'll tell you what we can do next. We can do this. So we need the power to go up when we walk out for these, so we'll probably do that next. Because then all that really leaves us with then is picking up keys, losing lives, and enemies. That's it. Oh, you did a poll, did you? What should Shalom play after the coding tonight? Okay. That PS4 zombie game, Resident Evil 2. Cool, alright, Resident Evil 2 it is. Alright, yeah, I might play a little bit of that in a minute. Why not? Yeah, I've been playing Dead Cells. So I when I left the chat last night, I went to browse the eShop. And I came across Dead Cells and I'd heard good things about it, so I gave it a shot. And my God, it's a good game. It's a really, really good game. It's really nice to look at. It's a little bit kind of pixel art generic, but it's beautiful. I say generic in the most. I don't mean anything bad by it. What I mean is it doesn't really jump out at you. It's not like Celeste or something where it's kind of, there's something about Celeste which just makes it really stand out. So it doesn't quite have that oomph about it, but it is a really beautiful game. And it's very well, the roguelike stuff in it is done really, really well. So just keep playing it. Oh, you kind of play it and you get maybe 2% of the way through a level or whatever, and you die. You will die. It gets really fucking hard. And the reason it gets really hard is because the way that the game works is it's not that you, as you play through the level, you kind of gain power and then the next level gets a bit easier and so on. It's designed to kill you so that you restart, and you have to, every time you restart, you gain a little bit more power from, you gain you retain a little bit of the upgrades that you gained previously. So as you go through, you slowly get more and more powerful, and you can start beating enemies that you couldn't even take on before, and it's nice. It's really nicely done. I'm enjoying it a lot, and it's got that one more go feeling to it, because you can play it in bursts, so you can play it for 10 minutes, no problem, and feel like you've done something. Because next time you play, you'll have a slightly better sword or something. So, but yeah, I really like it. It's good. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes, guys. Be right back, and then I don't know what I'll probably do a bit more code. I want to do the power bar for this console, and then I'll play a bit of Last of Us. Why not? Assuming I can get it working. I've not been having the greatest luck with the stream stuff recently, so we shall see. Got the hiccups as well. All right, back in a minute, guys. Be right back. All right, let's have a go at doing this this power bar thing. Should be relatively simple to do, I think. So actually, it's going to be quite similar to the hit areas, but instead of comparing against a hit area, we're just going to be checking the character to see if we're bumping into this. Actually, I think it might just be built into the collision already. So let me just have a look at the. Cracks me up every time that. I love it. Thank you for the follow, Ascal Frost. Welcome to the stream, dude. All right, let's spend about half an hour on this at most, and if we don't finish it in that time, I'll save it for the next stream. I've not had a bad go with Z80 tonight. It's been a little bit friendlier. I've felt like I'm kind of some of it's sinking in. So if I say yeah, was it you, Chromas, who did the slowdown version of it? It's really good. I like it. Foro did the original video. Credit to Foro for the original idea, and thanks Chromas for slowing it down so it sounds like a raw. I think it was Chromas that did it. Yeah, slowed it down. Yeah, thought so. Okay, so I believe we've already got some collision data for yeah, so we've got this horrible thing, which is also going to be taken from the editor at some point. So for now, we'll just have to edit it manually. I think I definitely need to get this editor up to scratch to at least put the show it in double size as it's really small. Yeah, it is a bit, isn't it? Yeah. Let me whack it up in size a little bit. I think I can resize it quite easily, actually. It's going to make all my alerts bigger, but there, it's a bit bigger now, so it should happen. Let me just replay that. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I think probably my next job this week is to set the editor to allow me to do these extra things as well. I think the pick and mix editor is fine now. I've had a couple of levels submitted. I think I've got like 6 levels that you guys have submitted, which is working really well, I've got to say. I'm going to do a couple of levels myself soon. Probably yeah, I might try and do a couple before the next stream. I want to spend the next stream fixing some more glitches and doing the bonus count up screen properly, because I think the bonus count screen needs a bit of extra work as well. Good night, cheers. Thanks for joining along. Thank you for the raid, dude. Thank you for the follow, Rocket Duke. Welcome to the stream, dude. Okay, right. Let's have a look. So we need to add a collision in, a unique collision value. So at the moment, we've got these bits for ladder. We've got terminal here, which is 1, 2, 4, 8, 16. So we need to set 16 on the terminal values. So where is the terminal? Let's go and have a look. So the terminal lives. Oh, I can't see it in the character set now. Where is it? Oh, it's here. There we go. So 164, 165. Okay, so this is in a really annoying place. This is why I really need to set these things up here. But okay, so we've got red and green door, which is these two here, and then 14 bytes before it. So it's these two here, some of these here anyway. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So I need 4, then 2 bytes, and then 8 bytes here. So I need 2 bytes here, which is going to be 16, 16, which is terminal. So this is just the top of the terminal. Oops. And then the bottom of the terminal is the bit underneath. So basically, same as this here. This definitely needs to be turned into something that gets dragged out of the editor, because it's starting to get messy here. So okay, so with that in mind, player collision. Let's have a look how that's actually working here. So we do get chart at position here. So let's grab all of that, and let's go and put that at the end of the player collision. So what we're going to do here is, after all of this, where we do call check dialog trigger, we'll do call check terminal, and I'll just put that here. So what do I need to do here? Okay, so I need to check if the player is touching the terminal. So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to do it based on the middle of the character. So I'm going to stick this right slap bang in the middle. So if the middle of your character is touching the terminal, then we know that you're actually over a terminal. So just check the collision. So collision table, get char collision. So this returns in the accumulator the value in the collision table. So all we need to do here then in this case is we need to AND the accumulator with collision terminal and return if that's not set. So if that's not set, we return 0. Otherwise, what we need to do here is we need to use the timer. So there is a timer somewhere. I can't remember which one it is. Frame timer. Here we go. So we're going to load the accumulator with frame timer, and we're going to compare that to, we're going to AND that with a value and return if that's non-zero. So if that's non-zero, we won't do it. Otherwise, what we'll do is we'll actually increment the power bar. So we do have player power here. So we're going to load the accumulator with the contents of player bar. This is going to be done really quickly, actually. And we're going to compare the accumulator to 3 and return if that's 0. So if we're already at full power, it's not going to do anything. Otherwise, we should just be able to increment the value in the accumulator and load that back into player power. So this isn't going to play any sound effects because we don't have sound effects in place yet, but hopefully what this should do is allow us to actually increment our power slowly over time. It's actually going to probably be quite quick. I'm going to need to change this value to something that feels appropriate. But for now, we'll just set that. We'll set our power to 0 so we can see it fill up. Because you actually start with no power. That's actually how this works. Collision terminal referenced as a label. Okay, so let's look. 402 and the accumulator. I would have thought that worked. Can you not do that? Surely you can do that. You can do it here, so why can't you do it in there? Okay, that's. I would have thought that would have worked. That seems a bit strange that it doesn't work, because it works in the other cases. What am I doing wrong here? What is the difference between that and that? Because I can't see any. I'm looking at the collision values. What is this tune? This tune seems familiar. This seems like a Nintendo tune as well. Oh, it's Whizball. Sounds very Nintendo-y for some reason. Typo in label. Eh? No, it should be right. Referenced as a label. I mean, sure, that's not going to make a difference. No. Why would that be different? I don't understand. Miss equals. Missing equals. No, it's... There's no difference between that, right? Which we're seeing here, and this. I wonder if player is included before collision. I think it's just a... Well, no, because collision is used elsewhere in here. I'm pretty sure. Oh, maybe it's not actually. I think it's just an import order thing. Collision is imported after player. Okay, so let's move that to before player. Okay, that seems to be better now. Okay, so 405. There we go. Yeah, it was just the order. Unfortunately, it's not a two-pass assembly thing, so it doesn't assemble all the equals first. It does it in a different way. Okay, so we've got no power here. Okay, dialogue. Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm glad the dialogue works, but cool. Actually, that feels a bit slow. It's a lot quicker on the C64. So let's change that to 7. Cool. Let's see what the I think Foster's has got more water than water. Can't see the keyboard in the way. Oh. There we go. It fills up, so that's good. I just want to check how close you can get to it. So it's actually, I think maybe we should check both sides of the player, because I feel like you should be filling up a little bit before that. So I'm gonna change it to check both sides. So we're doing one check here. So I'm going to change this to hit here. And I'm going to do jump with non-zero hits like that. And then I'm going to change this to be kind of over one side and then over the other side. So we're going to check both sides. and then put return here instead. So actually that can be returned 0 there. So this way, in fact, it's probably going to need bringing in a little bit. So I'm going to bring it in by 2 on each side. Otherwise, it's going to be far too sensitive. But yeah, it's too sensitive now. So I just need to reduce that a little bit. So let's bring it in another 2. Let's bring it in 2 on this side. There you go. That feels okay. Okay, so the other thing we may as well do while we're at it is tie that to the transition. The transition is debounced. That's good. Is the jump debounced? I can't remember if I debounced the jump. I did. Okay, cool. So let's reduce the power then when we press that button. So this is in here. Transition. So we check for the B button. Do transition. So here is where we actually do the transition. But before we do the transition, we need to check that we've got enough power. So let's load the accumulator with player power. Jump, if that is 0, which we need to compare to done transition, because we can't actually do the transition here. Otherwise, we are going to decrease the value in the accumulator and put it back into player power. There we go. Okay, so there's an interesting bug here where it's actually showing the wrong value. So maybe it should be at the end of the transition that it happens. So let's change it to do that. So let's get rid of this here. So let me just copy it from here. Oops. And we'll do it at the end of the transition. So we already have a transition animation here. This is the update. This is transition, loop 3, next line, end, switch back to Charmat. No, it's not that one. Turn off transition. Here we go. Transition state, jump to 10. Okay, so I think if we just do this here, that should be correct now. So yeah, we can fill up. We only need to touch it slightly, which is kind of all right. We can tweak those values around though. Oh, it's still displaying those wrong though. Oh, also, I went straight through that door then, which is not correct. I think I've broken something in the collision routine somewhere. That one worked. But that door is broken now. That door is definitely broken. What did you ask for, Chroma? So I will add it in again for you. Oh, Whizball. Whizball's already been played. That's probably why. I can force it myself, so. Why is that not letting me paste in there? All right. I can't see that. Let me zoom in a bit. All right. Away with ball. There you go. I've added it in. Ah, yeah. It played. Do you know? Do you know what subtune it is? Try subtune 2. Is it the door or the side? I'm fairly certain this is because I've messed around with the collision things here, because we've got the blue doors down here. So I'm just wondering if I've completely broken this. Oh, I have broken it. That's why, because this should actually be 9. That's why. It's a good job I remember the values that go in here. So okay, so let's go and check out that door. Yeah, that's fine now. Okay. So the only problem I've got now is that this is happening on the hood. When the power is being removed, it's not setting the correct timeline. And actually, I'm stuck in here now. This is the most difficult thing with the level design on this, is making sure you can't get stuck anywhere, as I am now. So I can't timeline. I can timeline. Let me do change here. Yeah, it's always showing this original one. It's never actually filling these incorrectly. So whereas if I fill up, it does fill them incorrectly. Okay. I'm pretty sure that wasn't the right tune either. If you find out what the right tune is on DeepSid, I can change it for you. Okay, so yeah, if it's filling these in blank, it's always doing it in the old way. So it's just going to have a look in the HUD. HUD update power, switch to char map, switch to attribute map. Draw blank. Switch to attribute map. Here we go. Okay, so this is where we need to do it. So we're already doing a check around here. So I'm just going to change this to match. So let's have a look. So we switch that. Would be like so, and I'm going to change these to 2, 2, 2, 2. So that should hopefully fix it, I think. That's better. There we go. Perfect. Cool. That's pretty sweet. So we've got power working, keys are working, doors are working, dialogs are working, player control is pretty much there now. Really, the majority of what I need to do is editor really first, I guess. Yeah, editor needs to be done next, I think, which I'm not going to do on stream. I'll do that outside of the stream. Oh, that was interesting. I disappeared then for a split second. I don't know why. Need to keep an eye on little bugs like that. I'm not sure why. Oh, there, it happened again. What caused that? How did I do that? Okay, so there are a few little bugs we need to work out, but most of it is kind of working quite well at the moment. Just wonder if that power is the right speed. I think it is actually. Yeah, seems about right. Subtune 4. All right. Yeah, I got you. Okay, that's feeling pretty good. That was pretty quick to do as well. I'm not sure what to do now. Trying to think if there's any other tiny. I mean, there's the death routine as well, which I guess is because the death routine isn't entirely straightforward. Because you need to store. It's based on the entry point to a screen, not on your lat. So you might think, okay, if I'm stood here, and then I fall, that my spawn point should be here, but it's not. It's going to be wherever you entered the screen. So as soon as you enter a screen, it's going to wait for you to touch solid ground. So if you jump like this into the screen, then where I land is going to be my spawn point. I think that's the case. Anyway, maybe it wasn't. Maybe it was the last solid point. No, I think it was where you entered the screen. And there are some caveats to this as well. So one of the things that is a problem in the original game, which I want to fix in this one, is if you enter the screen here, you're on solid ground, right? But if you change timeline, this bridge will disappear. So then if you die in this timeline, you will spawn back in the same timeline that you die in. And you will just enter a loop of dying, basically. So there has to be an extra check to make sure that the ground is not ground that's going to disappear. It needs to be solid in both timelines. Oh, that's an empty screen, so that's just going to crash out. But other than that, it's feeling pretty solid now. Oh, there's also the music routine. I guess we should probably do a stream on that at some point. I need to look at the existing music routine. If I can use an existing one, I'd rather do that. But I do have specific requirements for it. So if I do use an existing one, I need to be able to edit it as well. The city's making you anxious. You should play this game. This game will make you anxious. All right, let's. I guess I'm going to call it there for the pod, and let's give Last of Us 2. We need to get this bloody game completed. Let's make sure it comes on. Yep, it's coming on. It's good. I am going to take a quick break again. I know it's early, but while things boot up, I'll have a quick cigarette. Then I'll change the stream title and we'll do some Last of Us 2. So if you came along for the code tonight and you're not interested in Last of Us 2, thanks for joining tonight, guys. If you do want to stick around and see some Last of Us 2, that's what I'm going to play in a few minutes. It's gone quite well tonight. I've not been quite as annoyed with Z80 as I normally get. Apologies to anybody who's waiting for me to scream at the screen, but it's just not happened quite as much as I thought it was going to tonight. So, all right, I'll be back in a few minutes, guys, and we'll get some Last of Us 2 on the go. All right, right back.